Hiya everyone, welcome to today's video where I'm going to be reading Taylor Jenkins Reid for a week. Now, if you don't know me, hi, I'm Govinda and I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. So from my knowledge, she has 8 books out, but Goodreads is throwing out some figures that I've never seen before. But regardless, I have read 5 of those 8 books and given 3 of them 5 stars. So I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. So in the Taylor Jenkins Reid universe, from my understanding and how I categorize it, she has one universe here and one universe there. I think they could easily be interwoven, and they probably are in some kind of way. But how I interpret it, she has one series about like celebrities and stars in this universe that's very similar to ours, but the stars and celebrities are different and we get to learn about them on the way. Now, within that universe, I have read all the books. So I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo first. Now, okay, when I first read it, I gave it a 4 stars. It was literally my book on paper. Like, she gave me this and I said, okay, thank you. And I read it and I got really, now looking back, I understand that I got really attached to Evelyn Hugo as a character. And she does something in the end which I was like, I don't like that. So I gave it a 4 stars. Then I read it again and gave it a 5 stars. And I was like, okay, I'm going to overlook this one thing. For a while, I was going to reread it again and give it a 4 stars because I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. But now coming to the realization that that's the reason why I wanted to change it, I'm going to leave it where it was, but 5 stars for that one. Now, Daisy Jones and the Six is the next one. Again, I said, this is my type and paper. And she said, here you are. And I said, thank you very much. And this is my favourite book of all time at the moment. I have read this book, I think twice. 5 stars both times. And it's literally, thank you, I'll eat that up. It's perfect in every way. I loved it. The audiobook, I'm a massive audiobook listener and the audiobook is amazing. And the TV show was amazing as well, valid in its own right, but the book is very much giving me life. So that was another 5 stars. Now, Malibu Rising, I didn't like. I'm gonna be honest. So with that one, I really like the first timeline that it goes into. The second timeline, not so much. So I give it a 3 stars, but Malibu Rising's fine, it's canon, I accept it. And then the last one in this universe, Carrie Soto's back. And she's back for a 5 stars because I, again, ate that book up so much. And a common theme that I'm getting actually from reading all of this is Taylor Jenkins Reid will kind of split her books into different timelines or different phases. Normally she'll keep it like 2 timelines in 2 phases. So like when I think of Carrie Soto's back, there are 2 timelines in that. And she does such a perfect job in this of making everything so interwoven and makes sense. That for me lives like so realistically in my head. Like that is so believable, the picture that she portrays, and it's so beautiful at the same time. The character of Carrie Soto, I know some people don't like her, but I love her. She reminds me a lot of myself, so maybe that's why. But honestly, loved Carrie Soto's back. That's the kind of book where you don't want to reread it, even though it was so good, because it sits so beautifully for the time that you read it in your head. So that one's just amazing. So that's the first universe. I don't know what it's called, but that universe there lives together. All the characters are interwoven. So like you'll hear about one character in another book, which is quite interesting. There's one character that brings all the books together, which is interesting as well. So yeah, that's that there. Okay, and then the second universe, which I think is interwoven, is about like civilians. It's concentrating heavily on romantic relationships, and this summer in 2023 I did read one of them. So the next book was Forever Interrupted. Now, okay, I read this last year summer, like I said, and it took me out of a reading slump, but also it just came at a time when I needed it. And that's another funny thing which is mad, is whenever I read these Taylor Jenkins Reid, they're at a poignant time in my personal life that makes the experience of reading the book so much better. I don't know why it happens like that and everything connects like that, but I read Forever Interrupted. I was in like a new town. I was like really kind of grasping my feelings about everything that I went through that year. And this came along and wow, what a journey. I gave it a 4 stars, but looking back, I'm like, why did I not give this a 5 stars? Because it deals with very adult themes, like very heavy plot line, and it's so beautifully done. And it's so sad. Oh my god, my heart broke in that book about 50 times. So I give it a 4 stars, but easily could be a 5 stars. Now, according to this blog that I have in front of me, there's 3 more books left, and I'm gonna attempt to read them all in 1 week. Now, is that like a little bit too much? Yes, but is it doable? We'll see. So the next book is After I Do. I don't know anything about these books, but I'm gonna guess it's about someone after they get married. So yeah, I've got After I Do, Maybe in Another Life, and One True Loves. In that order, they're listed on this website and this blog that I've got in front of me. So that's how the order that I'm going to read it in. So let's get started with After I Do and see what happens there. But honestly, if anything like forever interrupted, I'm gonna need a break. I'm gonna need a break because After I Do was so, again, why did I not give this book a 5 stars? But After I Do was so good. Like, it was just so beautifully done. And like, looking back, I don't know why I didn't. Maybe actually Forever Interrupted, sorry, I keep getting the names wrong. Maybe it was because at the beginning there's a relationship that's so beautiful and then it's referenced later on, and maybe because I felt like a sense that I missed out on that story, I kind of had a little bit of resentment, and that's why I didn't give it a 5 stars. But all of this that I'm saying about the feedback about books that didn't make it to 5 stars or whatever really shows how like connected I feel with these books, because Taylor Jenkins Reid makes it so much powerful for yourself that you get so connected to these characters and what they're going through. So I can't wait to see that in the next books that I read. I'm sure I will have a deep connection, but I'm just saying, get a chair because I'm weak. Like, I'm gonna be so weak after these books. You gotta pick me up off the ground. Like, if they're anything like the universe that I think they belong in, of these adult relationship books that are very like testy and whatever, I'm not gonna be well, but we shall see. And I'm gonna dig into a little bit of After I Do, but it is currently nighttime, hence why I'm not in front of my mirror. And I've just taken my magnesium tablets, so I'm probably gonna doze off soon. But I'm already scared, but I'm already looking forward to it, so let's see what happens. Hiya everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I firstly look a little bit like a mess. I literally just woke up. It is 9 o'clock in the morning and I've had like 12 hours of sleep. I'm not joking anyone right here, right now. So I'm really well rested. I also finished After I Do last night, which, okay, so this I'm just gonna flat out say it. This wasn't my favourite Taylor Jenkins Reid book ever, and that's okay. I read it, I gave it a 3 stars. It was okay of a book. Like, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, nothing great about it. It was just okay. And what I mean by that is, like, I just read it, it was okay, and I move on. Like, I really did like the plot. So the book's about a couple and they go on a trial separation. Now, I don't know why that whole thing just made me feel so uneasy. I guess maybe it's because she makes you like get to know the couple first, so you kind of follow them as they get on. So when they were on a trial separation, I was kind of like, I don't really want this to happen. But then you kind of learn a lot more about the woman, particularly in the relationship, as you follow her, and then you also like learn a lot about like the side characters and her family system. Also, you're balanced on a candle at the moment, so if it's flickering lights, that's why. But yeah, I did like the book for what it was, but firstly the plot line, I didn't realize, I don't know, maybe it speaks to a lot of like things that I need to figure out in my life about how uneasy it made me feel. And secondly, like, I like the characters and the side characters, but I just didn't gel with the main character. And that's not because I didn't like some of the decisions she was making. I think everything she did was pretty sound, to be fair, but I just didn't gel with her. And when you're going on such a personal experience with a person, like a character, you think you would kind of get to know them a little bit more, but I really struggled in that department. I think I actually got to know a lot of the side characters more than I did her. So anyway, 3 stars, completely fine. It was perfect. Sometime in my life it might be more poignant, and sometimes to other people it might mean a lot more, but just to me it was a 3 stars. So on to the next, and let's see how that goes. Hiya everyone, so it's a new day. I am currently reading the second book. I actually genuinely don't even know the name of the book. I'm having such a difficult time at the moment with reading these books, just because even though they deal with very like different topics, it's so similar to me that I'm just like, I'm reading the same book over and over again, and it's crazy. Like, it's too much. It's getting a bit too much. So much so that, like, I'm in the second book and I've had to start reading something else just so I don't fall in a slump. And also, I just want to bring the attention to the clothes back here. I went on a night out a couple of, like, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I wore a blazer and a turtleneck. Very classic Govinda Singh Thakur of me. And I took the blazer off inside the club, and someone put chewing gum on there. Now, I think I know the person who put the chewing gum on there. Not a friend of mine, but a friend that I, like, you know, you make friends, like, when you're on a night out. So that bitch put chewing gum on my thing, which, to be fair, I don't blame her, because that's very, like, 2019 Govinda Singh Thakur coded. Actually, like, kind of like slave for her, but it went on my blazer, and I put my blazer back on, and then it's gone on my turtleneck. So I saw on TikTok that, this is very blue pink of me, by the way, that if you put ice cubes on the inside and then the outside, then it will make it so you can just like peel it off, which is kind of working. I'm just gonna leave that experiment over there. I feel like I'm on TV right now with that little transition back into the shot. But basically, I'm having a hard time. I don't want to say they're similar characters, because they're going through such different, like, and serious, like, topics and, like, experiences in their life. But I'm having a hard time differentiating the main characters. I felt that in the first book, After I Do, I felt like, not me thinking someone was behind me. I felt like in After I Do, the first book that I read in this video, I felt like I could tell, like, the other characters in the universe apart. Like, I could really get into who they are and kind of see who they are. But the main character and her boyfriend, husband, I really couldn't tell, like, too much about. If someone asked me, like, point them out in a police lineup, I would not know who they are. Like, there wasn't that many attributes that I got to know about them, like, individually, apart from what they were going through. And in this book, I think it's called Maybe in Another Life, is feeling very similar. I know about the people in this woman's universe, but I actually don't know too much about her than what she's actually going through. It's a lot of, like, when I'm reading about the main characters, it's a lot about what they're going through and the storylines, or where they are and what they're doing, but it's not, like, too much focus, I feel like, on their reactions, who they are, or anything like that. So I'm having a hard time with that. I've actually switched into this business book. So I went to uni for business, so it's, like, obviously something that's, like, quite interesting. And yesterday, I don't know why, on my YouTube, I got this, like, businessy interview style video recommended to me. And one of the guys in there was like, you have to read this book, which is starting from zero, I think. So I'm reading that at the moment. I'm listening to the audiobook, and it's alright. It's one of those business books, it's fine. But genuinely, I just needed to take a break from reading this book. And I think that might be actually the best thing to do when I feel like I'm going into a slump over a book or like an author, is to go into a different book, take a vacation over there, then come back over here and finish whatever I'm doing. Because the thing is, what I was thinking about, this series, this universe that I'm reading at the moment, is kind of Taylor Jenkins Reid's first go into like writing, and I think it's important to give like authors or artists or whoever it might be the grace to release a couple of books at the beginning that like helps them like kind of hit their stride or be experimental. Because I can tell you I can see a difference between Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones. Like, those two people, very two different people. I can give you some keywords to describe them, but in After I Do and Maybe in Another Life, I can't tell them hugely apart. And even in like Forever Interrupted, I'm thinking back now, and that woman and these women that I'm reading about at the moment, I haven't like found out who they are individually yet, but which again, giving Taylor Jenkins Reid the grace that this is her first couple of books. But that's what's making it hard for me to read, because I'm not getting to know the individual what I'm reading about. And even if they're good, bad or ugly, that's a key thing in my reading experience, to know who I'm reading about, and that's why I'm struggling at the moment. But I'm gonna finish the book that I'm listening to, the business book, and then go back into it and see what's going on. But let's see if this works. First thing in the morning, I needed to do this, and then I will let you guys know how I get on. Okay, so surprisingly, this actually worked. So the chewing gum was on this little patch here, so just above there, that little white thing. This is the design, and it's gone. So it was here, and now it's gone. It's completely gone. On my black turtleneck, it was more of like a polo t-shirt, kind of like the same fabric as this. So I got most of it off there, but I'm gonna put it in the washing on like a high temperature cycle experience. But I'm impressed. I learned that trick off TikTok. I'm gonna put it. Why am I scared so much? I genuinely. Oh my god! What was that? What is that? I don't know what that was, guys, and I'm scared. But yeah, genuinely, nothing happened, and I literally thought I saw something outside or someone outside. But yeah, no, it's off. That's actually quite amazing. But wow, what an experience. I really was gonna take this to the dry cleaner for a second there, because I was genuinely like, it's not coming off. It's not coming off. But it's off, and we live another day. So yeah, now I'm gonna try and do some like actual work, but I really want to watch Real Housewives of Potomac. So we don't know. We'll see. Why? Every 2 seconds, I'm scared for my life, literally. I'm gonna try and do some work, but I want to watch Real Housewives of Potomac, and I know what I'm like. I will not rest until I've watched it. So let's actually watch that together. Hi everyone. So okay, I have finished Maybe in Another Life, and everything I said in the last clip, look away because I don't want to look at you right now whilst I say this. Look away, thank you. I kind of take back. I kind of fell in love with this book because I was talking about how I was reading a different book, kind of to like get over the slump and not go into a slump because this book wasn't my vibe. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just read this book. Let's just read it. Let's see what's the worst that can happen. And when I tell you this book had me in like a couple of minutes, like it had me. So the premise of the book, there's like 2 different, what I thought at the beginning to be timelines. So I thought one was the past and one was the present, and we would get into like what's going on later. So I thought with like a lot of dual like timeline perspectives, there would be one point where it would just click and it'd be like, well, now I'm living my life like this. Da, da, da. However, when I was reading it, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is contradicting what just happened or whatever. And then at the point where I felt like it should have meshed, it clicked in my head that these are two different stories, same person, same everything, but two different timelines completely. So it's not two different times, it's two different universes, and that like spun me a little bit. And then I was just like, what is going on? Still like kind of confused. And then when it clicked, one of the characters gives a speech about the whole like dual universe thing, which is very interesting to me because in summer I was listening to something that spoke about it, and basically there's this theory that's somewhat backed by science that there's all these different universes. So there's a different universe for every action that you take or don't take, and like there's someone who did that thing, and there's someone who didn't do that thing, and there's someone who's already done what you're wanting to do. So there's different universes like where you are completely different lifestyles or whatever. And what was so interesting about this was that even though the character, who, I'm not gonna lie, had depth, I will not lie. I've seen some reviews of people being like, she like was like trying to make like a food that she liked, her personality trait, but I saw the depth that she had. I actually really connected to this character, and again, don't look at me whilst I say this, but she kind of reminded me of myself. So yeah, that was very interesting. But what actually kind of touched my heart a little bit was that the whole point of this book is, no matter what universe, no matter what lifetime, no matter what action you take or consequence that you face or don't face, like, the universe is here to teach you a thing or two, and it will always bring you back where you're meant to be, which is something I've learned personally in my personal life a lot recently, and it's something I'm coming to terms with. Well, I have come to terms with. Let's get into it. But nah, it's just mad. So that book for me went from being a 2 stars when I spoke to you yesterday to now being like something that I was gonna give a 5 stars. Like, I was dead ass gonna give this book a 5 stars, and then I've come together with a 4 stars as a rating. But honestly, what a great book. I mean, I would be really interested in reading it again, just knowing that what I know now and trying to read it from that perspective. But honestly, well done. Well done. Well done. Not a standing ovation just yet, but well done. Well done. So, at this point, I've got one more book to read. And then she has a short story, which, I mean, I'll see if I want to get into it or not. We shall see. But, I did love that book. And there's a speech in the book about like all these like different universes and and it's just so beautiful. And there's like a friendship in the book as well that's really beautiful. The romances are really sweet as well. And oh my god, again, so in the different universes, the same character, Hannah, she goes into different relationships, right? So she doesn't end up with the same guy like each lifetime. And then it just shows you like some of the things, like her friendships and her family, they stay consistent regardless. But her like things that don't matter perhaps to her or in her kind of life cycle, they can change based on the universe, which is really interesting as well. Like, certain things change, but the things that truly matter will always be the same. And it just speaks to the thing of like, the universe just brings you where you need to be. Like, in all of these different universes or lifetimes, whatever you want to call it, there are consistencies, and the consistencies are the things that truly matter. So yeah, that was very sweet. Now I'm gonna go to sleep, and tomorrow I'll pick up the next book. But that was really sweet. I don't know. You know when you read a book and it just leaves you like really heartfelt? That's how I feel at the moment. So not too much left to say, but I will see you tomorrow. Bye. So I've just popped a spot on my chin. It was right here. So I've had to like shave down just to get to it, and I just popped it. I put some like cream on it. Like, I actually put toothpaste on my spots, put some toothpaste on it, and now it's really gross. So I apologise in advance, but if you need me to go like that, I will go like that. Basically, I finished this challenge. For me, it was quite interesting. So I finished Maybe in Another Life. I couldn't remember the title of that book for the longest time. I finished Maybe in Another Life, and honestly, this one was very interesting. So at the beginning of the year, I read Yellowface, and I was like, this could have been a little bit shorter for me. This book could have been a bit longer. I genuinely feel like it could be one of those books that's like 500 pages plus and being very interesting. But for me, it was just a bit too short. And because it was a bit too short, with such an interesting plot, like the plot in the book, like she gets a guy and then like he goes missing and then she like moves on with her life and then he comes back. Spoiler, but I think that's written in the description of the book. Like, with that and with the character development and the story progression that comes with it, there's so much like different things that I wish she hit with that. So I ended up giving it a 3 stars purely because of that reason. And then I read Evidence of the Affair. Now with this one, I didn't love it as much, but then I realised that I was rating it on what I would rate a normal like novel or novella, whereas this is very much a short story, and it's detailing letters going back and forth of a couple that found out that their partner is having an affair. So there's like 2 couples, the woman and the man from the couples are having an affair, and the 2 people that aren't having an affair like write letters to each other in confidence. So like they're saying, oh, the woman's saying this person's having an affair, and then the husband's like, oh my god, thank you for telling me, let's talk about it. So that was quite fun. Also, it takes part in the universe of like Daisy Jones and Evelyn Hugo, which is quite interesting. As a fan of those books, like hearing the reference, I was very happy. But for me, in conclusion, reading these books was like one after each other was enjoyable but so heavy, given the fact that they deal with different things but on a similar basis of like romance written by the same author. It was just becoming a little bit monotonous. I don't know what the word is, I don't know how to say it, but it was becoming quite a chore. And I feel like if I didn't read them all one after another and like read something else and then came back into the world, I would have really enjoyed it. But you know, I did it this way and it is what it is. But I gave the first one, After I Do, 3.5. And then I gave, oh, Maybe in Another Life is not the title of the book. What is it? You guys know I've referenced it before, but I gave 3.5 to the first one, 4 stars to the second one, 3 stars to the third one, and then 4 stars to the fourth one. No, 3 stars to the fourth one. So that's my kind of ratings of it. But I actually do genuinely believe if I hadn't read them one after another, I would probably give them much higher ratings. But all in all, good work. I love how she's like exploring romance, but in like such different stages and such different scenarios that are really extreme. I really enjoyed that. So overall, I really enjoyed reading all of these books. We're only 3 months into the year, but like Taylor Jenkins Reid is not only my most read author this year, but I recently got Storygraph, which I'm still updating, so maybe I'll do a separate video on that. And she's like one of my most read authors ever, so that's really interesting. But yeah, overall I enjoyed this challenge, but now I need to take a break from Taylor Jenkins Reid, I read all of the books, so it is what it is, but I need to take a break from her and I need to take a break from romance, and then maybe I'll come back, but for now, that's me done with romance and Taylor Jenkins Reid for a while. But this video was very enjoyable for me, like kind of finishing her books and then also just getting into her different writing. And even though I said like it was too much to read it all in one go, the books were still banging. Even though I gave some of them like 3 stars, that's a good rating from me. So overall, I really enjoyed this challenge, and as always, please do like, comment and subscribe. But for now, bye.